You just get tired of people. I knew Sarah Spain when she was sitting in the corner, kind of the news girl, but for WMVP in Chicago. And then somehow, some way, Sarah Spain became famous. She tried to sell a date with her to the Super Bowl, sell her boobs on eBay or somewhere. She's trying to sell her boobs to get a date to the Bears Super Bowl, which ultimately they lost to, of course, the Indianapolis Colts. Then she wrote a song about I want to screw Steve Bartman. Remember Steve Bartman, the bespectacled one who reached over and caught the pop fly foul that Moise Alou thought he was going to catch for the Cubs, and a lot of dumbass Cubs fans thought and still think that Steve Bartman cost him the World Series. Well, somehow she parlayed that into having a career. That's right, a career. Now, she's a pretty smart woman, went to Cornell, all that kind of stuff. But like most ESPNers, she got a little fame. She was a nondescript, kind of like the girl that walks around in the ring with the card saying what round it is. That's what the news sports reader does on the 12s and the 20s, that kind of thing. And somehow, some way, maybe it was boobs, maybe it was song, I don't know. She caught the attention of middle-aged white guys at ESPN. And she went from a nondescript, nothing, zero, nothing. Not really. I mean, I used to listen, nothing. To, well, she had her own show. She had her own show, and I've never once heard her say, you know what, hey, man, that's awesome. Thank you guys at ESPN for hiring me. You've heard me say that all the time as I rip ESPN. I got a nice house, 2 kids through college. I used ESPN one halftime to get my wife back. Well, my girlfriend, I was trying to get her back. You know what? I used it, and I'll tell that story sometime. But anyway, I've never heard Sarah Spain say, you know what, ESPN, you're pretty good. You're pretty good to me. I'm no talent. I was no athlete. I'm kind of a slob. I sat by her at the Chicago Bears 1985 30 for 30 premiere, and everybody there was dressed like human beings. She just looked like a slob, a big fat slob. That's it. Some kind of old starter jacket. Just looked like an idiot. In fact, a couple of the guys say, that's that girl Sarah Spencer. Yeah, it's unbelievable. But anyway, she's whining again. That's right, she's whining again. You never hear thank you, middle-aged white guy, for rescuing her and giving a career. Of course not. She is complaining that ESPN won't give her a show about women's sports and said that middle-aged white dudes, she always throws in dudes because she is about as unhip and cool as you could possibly be, but all these little girls think that saying dudes makes them cool and makes them hip. Just don't understand the massive economic opportunity her women's sports show could have provided. Look, they already DEI'd her. They already gave her a show. They had a girl named Cassidy Hubbard with her. I think it was Cassidy Hubbard. I was driving into ESPN one day listening to their show. And they had a guy, I think it was Dan Dickow on, who was playing basketball at Gonzaga. And they talked about how great his hair was. And boy, they'd like to rub their hands through her hair. And I thought to myself, imagine a dude saying that. Imagine these two clownish women actually saying or hearing me do that on a radio show, a national radio show. They would lose their mind, get all sexist. But we know there's a double standard. That's the only reason the woman was hired. She had a show for a long time, and it was put in the slot where literally nobody cares, like 6 o'clock at night. But she thought she was something. She thought she was really something. They showed her on Around the Horn, and next thing you know, she thought she was big time. Well, she's not. ESPN said, adios, we've had enough, goodbye. There's no chance in hell they're giving Sarah Spain a show on the economic impact of anything. Prim Spirap, that's right. Danny Z was there. Prim. And they were talking Prim, that's right. I actually like Cassidy Hubbard. I always thought Cassidy Hubbard was going to be a star. Hasn't worked out. Anyway, so Sarah Spain, who was widely disliked, she joined the cult of Dan Le Batard and Pablo Torre and Bomani Jones, the underappreciated. Those that never played a sport, although she says she was some kind of heptathlete or something, no chance. Anyway, she's complaining about white guys. Again, I never heard her say, God dang, thank you. Thank you, Norby Williamson. Man, thank you, Stephanie Drewley, white woman. Thank you. Never hear that. John Skipper, thank you, John Skipper. Thank you, Jimmy Patero, for hiring me. Thank you. Any of these guys. You'd never, ever hear it. Connor Shell, thank you. Never. All you hear is bitching, whining, and complaining from her because that's who she is. They have the opportunity that they are being, well, wait a second. When you get to the top of most places, it's still middle-aged white dude. Good. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Speaking as a middle-aged white dude, ain't nothing wrong with that. Probably earned their way. Probably started as a PA, worked their way up to a producer, worked their way up. What is wrong with that? I mean, I get it. Sarah Spain and other DEI champions are the results of DEI. I think things should just be given. But as much as I agree or disagree with the people in charge at ESPN, I will say this. They worked their ass off to get there. Sarah Spain did not. She made a spectacle of herself. She tried to sell her tits. She tried to make a song about fucking Steve Bartman, and that's how she became popular. These dudes in those positions, Burke Magnus and others, they worked their ass off. Mark Gross worked their ass off. And these are all middle-aged white guys that worked their ass off. Now, I get it. To the DEI world, that's a foreign concept. But that's what these guys did. Period. She did not. They have to recognize that they are being told, you are years behind a massive economic opportunity and still not think of it as charity. That's what's really been frustrating for me. Well, then get frustrated. Go over there and be frustrated. Charity was giving you a job. I mean, I know I got in a little half-ass spat with her, and it's funny, she had no idea that she was given a job. She thinks she got there on talent and stayed there on talent. She got there because it's a DEI hire. She stayed there because, well, frankly, who gives a shit about the 6 o'clock partnering of whatever? I think I got offered that job 5 times. No chance. None. Zero. A massive economic opportunity is an interesting choice of words. We have no idea if a women's sports-only show would work, but there are certainly reasons to be skeptical. Again, Sarah Spain happily pushes along left-wing talking points that promote inclusivity, yet she has multiple times attacked an entire group of people based on age, skin color, and gender. Well, of course she has. Of course. There's nothing she can bring to a table that is interesting other than to complain. Or maybe sell her body. I don't know. But anyway, here's some of her biggest hits. This inclusive one. Inclusivity means, you know what, thinking about all, not just your side, calling the Tampa Bay Rays, who cite religious beliefs as to why they didn't want to wear rainbow patches, bigots. Well, that's the biggest hit. That holds no water anymore. Being a bigot, being a racist, called by a crazy-ass liberal white woman. I mean, let's be honest. Who's more insane than crazy-ass liberal white women? We know the answer. Nobody. Liking tweets saying ESPN colleague Sam Ponder engages in bigotry for wanting to protect women's sports from men. Again, this is the Dan Le Batard and their whole clown show little section of ESPN. That's their little section. See, their little section is they can't quite get where they want. They're dying to change places with someone like Sam Ponder, someone like Sage Steele, but they just couldn't get there because they just weren't good enough. They got hired for a reason, and they stayed in that particular sphere for the same reason. They just weren't good enough. But they made good living, and they should say, hey, man, thank you, but they'll never do that. Telling sports radio executive that they need to appeal to women in the LGBTQ community because of the audience of old white dudes is going to die, and then no one will be left. Okay. All righty. Here's old Sarah Spain back in 2020 pushing for more diverse voices.
What would you say then to women who want to be in sports radio and then those who are hiring?
Keep at it. You can do it. Do not get discouraged by people saying that you don't belong. You can absolutely do the job. It's no different than any other job in sports, especially if you're good at speaking extemporaneously, which bitches be talking. So we know we can do it. And then for the people hiring, I equate it to baseball. If you are so worried about scaring off your existing fan base of old white dudes, remember that they're going to get even older and die, and then there will be no one left. So maybe you should reach out to the other parts of the population that are people of color and women and LGBTQ+, and also not insult the men listening who would like to hear those voices and perspectives and don't need to only hear from another middle-aged white dude.
Boom! My God, that was amazing. I want to just go run through a wall right now. And yes, that is a great message, and we're going to pump that out there and tag every GD news director across the country.
And now you become an old white woman. And now you become an old white woman, and boom, to the radio, TV industry, you're dead. There's nobody telling women they can't do the job. I mean, it's not a hard job. I mean, for crying out loud, these are the easiest jobs in America. I was talking to Jimmy Jackson, legendary basketball player and announcer yesterday. He's like, are you kidding me? Only women think other women can't do the job. Watch the WNBA. No, guys don't, and look everywhere you look. I mean, we should have more people of color. Blah, blah. Well, look around. What do you see? Honest to God, what do you see? You see women of color. You see men of color. I mean, honest to God. I mean, look, I get it, but she's going to have to change her bitch and whine and moan, and she's going to have to figure something else out. And whoever the idiot, I don't know if Danny Z knows who the idiot that was next to her going, boom, oh, golly gee. Well, she dumb as her. I mean, let's be honest. I get it. Look, you're trying, you thought you were something, and the next thing you know, ESPN said, yeah, well, we can find somebody else. And frankly, not a soul has missed her on ESPN. Not one. I've never heard anybody say, oh, my God, we have got to have Sarah Spain back. I mean, maybe Sarah Spain's mom and dad, maybe her cousins, aunts, uncles. I mean, I'm sure there are those, but Jesus. I mean, these people are nuts, but it was always that little segment, the Danny Lebitard little segment that John Skipper let in. And I'm telling you, Skipper knows it. People know it. I want to run through a wall. Oh, yay, yay. I want to run through a wall. Okay. But first, let me do my makeup and hair. Dumbasses. Just say thank you. You know, it's like that movie, A Few Good Men. I would rather you just say thank you to the middle-aged white dudes that hired your fat ass. That's all. Just say thank you. Former college basketball stars are suing the NCAA over NIL use in March Madness. Now, this is something I can get down with. This is something I can really get down with. Are you kidding me? 16 former men's college basketball players, including Kansas star Mario Chalmers and Sharon Collins, UConn guard Ryan Boatwright, Arizona guard Jason Terry, have sued the NCAA and multiple conferences for an unauthorized use of their name, image, and likeness in March Madness highlights. Excuse me, I'm Joe Biden right now. Oh, man, I am down with this. Look, these are the people that should get the contracts. Kemba Walker, give him money. Scott May, Quinn Buckner, Isaiah Thomas, Steve Alford, Bob Knight, Johnny Orr, John Thompson, Louis Carnesecca, Nolan Richardson. I mean, that's just to name a few. I'm just thinking about national champions and guys that took teams to the Final Four in an era where college basketball was growing. These clowns making money right now is absurd. Giving anybody at Indiana more than a scholarship is a waste of our good taxpayer money, although it's not taxpayer money. Defendants in the class action lawsuit, which was filed Monday in U.S. District Court in the Southern District of New York, also includes the Big East, Big 12, Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12, although the Pac-12 doesn't exist, SEC, ACC, and Turner Sports Interactive. The lawsuit accused the defendants of systematically and intentionally misappropriating the plaintiff's publicity rights while reaping scores of millions of dollars from plaintiffs and similarly situated class members' participation in competition. The lawsuit accuses the NCAA and the other defendants of violating the federal Sherman Antitrust Act through unreasonable restraint of trade, group boycott, and refuse to deal. All right. I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it at all. I want more of this. We saw North Carolina State's basketball team. We saw them go out and those guys start suing the NCAA because of how much they are used in NCAA promos with nothing to show for it for them. I'm all in on all this. I am absolutely all in on all of this. I hope more people do. I hope the estate of Bob Knight does. As I mentioned, John Thompson, these people grew basketball. Nolan Richardson, boy, did he grow basketball. Rick Pitino, back in the day. I mean, I can go on. Dean Smith, his estate. Mike Krzyzewski, back in the day. I mean, these are the guys that should be getting the money. If you're going to give TV money to players, you should give it the TV money to the people who got the TV contracts, which is the coaches and players of that day. I mean, honest to God. Now, going way, way back, I don't know. Because up until really the mid-'70s into the '80s, college basketball was okay. Early '70s, not so much. But once you got to '76 and Indiana was running rampant, the next thing you know, John Thompson came along, Bob Knight, stars were born, Bird versus Magic, 79. Those are the guys that got TV interested in college basketball. Not these clowns now. Not at all. Not these coaches now. No. They're reaping the benefits of work done by an older generation, led by guys like, as I said, John Thompson, Bob Knight, Dean Smith, Louis Carnesecca. I mentioned Nolan Richardson, Arkansas, national champ. Stop it. Just stop it. No, I'm all for these guys suing. I think they should absolutely do it. I think they should absolutely do more. After playing 11 seasons with the Golden State Warriors, Klay Thompson is leaving the Bay, and he's headed to go with Mark Cuban and the good folks down in Dallas. Well, he signed with the Mavericks as a free agent. His dad's not happy. His dad, Michael, was the first pick in the NBA draft. His dad, Michael, out of Minnesota, really good. Like, they had a really good team. I mean, really good. Anyway, I digress. Michael Thompson is the radio voice analyst of the Los Angeles Lakers. He's a really good NBA player, fantastic athlete. He's from the Bahamas. The reason I remember that is because he wore puka shells. And I thought puka shells were cool. And, of course, if I saw it on somebody on TV, I got some. And then I wore them, and all the girls at St. Peter and Paul made fun of me. But they didn't make fun of Mark Holcomb because he was kind of a stud. I was kind of skinny and pimply, so they made fun of me. I got rid of the puka shells. I went and got some high-heeled white shoes. Yeah, that's right. White shoes, white belt, leisure shoe, little powder brown with a silk shirt inside and out. It was on. I mean, slow dancing my way to fame and fortune to the best of bread. Are you kidding me? But anyway, after 11 seasons, Klay Thompson, he gone. And his dad's not happy. Nah, his dad's not happy at all. He's still not over it. Here's what Klay Thompson's father, Michael, had to say.
What were your initial thoughts when, I'm sure he talked to you about it, but when this whole thing went down over the last 24 hours?
Yeah, hold your congratulations, Frank, and Scal. I'm not too feeling too much in a congratulatory mood right now. Because, obviously it's Klay's decision. It's his life. He's a grown man, 34 years of age, just like we were 34 at one time. Scal, Frank, and our father used to give us advice, and, we would go choose our own path, and that's fine. That's what life is supposed to be about. But I'm really disappointed. I was hoping, as you can assess, that he would be a Laker, and it was close. It came down to the Lakers and the Mavs, but the Mavs won out. But you know me, I was hoping and praying he'd finish his career with the Lakers.
How close was it, and how involved did you get in trying to connect that?
When he told me that the Lakers were talking to him and or going to talk to him, and the Mavs too, obviously I tried to sell playing for the Lakers. Obviously that's the right thing for me to do and the proper thing for me to do, and I felt like it was the correct thing for me to do because I really believe in this franchise. The franchise has been so good to me and my family. But he had a chance, and when the chance came, he chose the Mavericks instead, and I'll live with it. I accept it, and I'm happy for him that he's happy with his decision. But, yeah, of course, I tried to sell him on the Lakers.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you, man? Yeah. I mean, you got to. You're living there. It's your son. You want him there. It'd be great. But you know what? He said at 34 years old, and you got to go do your own thing. And, here's the deal. This is interesting to me with Klay Thompson. Everybody talks about how great this is. Well, has it really ever worked out? I mean, has there ever been a guy that left the team that was winning big? I'm thinking about Pippen here. I'm thinking about, I guess it did with Rodman, but left the team past his prime, went to another team, and was a vital cog on winning a championship. You know what I mean? I mean, is there anybody, was there anybody that did that? Barkley left, Pippen left, Jordan left. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing somebody. Maybe somebody came to the Lakers and helped them back in the day. I don't know. But I do like Klay Thompson. I think it's a terrific fit. I mean, he's going to stand in the corner. There's not going to be anything ran for him, and he's going to have to watch Doncic and Kyrie Irving dominate the ball, particularly Doncic, and that would get very old if I were Klay Thompson, particularly since he's been used to a lot of movement, which is what the Golden State Warriors did. But I don't blame Pops at all, man. Hey, look, you got a chance to have your kid here? Let's go. Let's do it. I ain't mad about it. What the hell? Here's another deal. If you're Trev Alberts and you're the athletic director at Texas A&M, you play. He was really good. I got no problem with him calling out a team or a coach that he's mad at as being scared. If you're Joe Castiglione, who is the longtime athletic director at Oklahoma, and by all accounts a terrific guy, you never played, you never coached, you never sat in there and had to get ready for a team, you never had to prepare all week, you have no right, even though you're mad at Lincoln Riley, you have no right to call a coach scared or whatever. None. Zero. Zip. No right. But he didn't stop him. Joe Castiglione, according to my guys Knicks, I love this. This makes me sound young and hip, not like middle-aged white dude. Woke up and chose verbal violence against Lincoln Riley, taking shots at him. Shots, I say, for not playing SEC teams. Now, you got to understand Oklahoma isn't in the SEC yet until they play a game, but they are in the SEC in terms of everything else. Here's Castiglione, whatever the hell his name is, taking shots at his former coach.
I will tell you without reservation, every coach that we talked to was excited. And you know what? The ones that aren't here anymore. And
It's
take it away, Dari.
Listen.
We call that a mic drop.
And when you're in this league, you can mic drop a little bit.
Yeah, it's amazing. I don't know who the analysts were there, but it's amazing nobody ever pushes back. These women that get on here just giggle. I'm ready to run through a wall. Shut up. And the dude on there, I mean, why don't you say, well, what's the problem? I mean, why? I mean, you don't think he should have gone to USC and gone to Hollywood and what? I mean, I don't know how that's such a mic drop. Some guy in a suit and tie talking about coaches being afraid to play in the SEC when this guy's never had to do nothing. Yeah, he's had to negotiate a contract or two. That's gutsy. Yeah, he's had to sit in a room with other guys, other athletic directors, and figure it out. That's great. But the fact of the matter is this. The fact of the matter is I just don't like it. You may like it. You may not care. I don't. I don't like athletic directors who've never been in the fight. Never, ever had that feeling on game day. This is my team. Hope I'm ready. I think we are. What's going to happen? Don't screw it up. You know, Bear Bryant famously said the job of a coach on game day is to not get in the way of winning. Figure out every way you can make sure you don't help a team lose. That's what he did on game day. Joe Castiglione probably went to see if the popcorn was popped. Joe Castiglione probably went to make sure that the major donors had their programs and were in their seats. Big deal. Who gives a rat's ass? Say, yeah, I don't like it. Hard to tell anybody. I know taxes are crazy in California. I know Newsom's a bum, but hard to tell anybody, and I mean anybody, anywhere, anytime, any place, anywhere, that going and being the head coach at USC is a bad thing. I'm just saying. But I also think maybe he's right. If I'm the athletic director and my coach doesn't want to play in the SEC, but that ain't the reason Lincoln Riley's not there. Lincoln Riley's not there because he saw a greener pasture and he went. Simple. Not that hard. All right. The New York Jets. New York Jets had a glaring hole in their mandatory minicamp. As quarterback Aaron Rodgers said, I'm not going. I'm going to go do some spleef in Egypt. I don't know what he was doing. Was not present before the team broke for their summer rest period prior to training camp. And according to SUNY TV, the absence was a pre-planned trip to Egypt. Is that a bad look? Of course it's a bad look. I'm not paying you to go to Egypt. I'm not paying you to work year-round either. You got the greatest job in America. You're making about $40 million to play quarterback in New York, the home of Broadway Joe. We don't put restrictions on you. What do you got to do as a 39, 40-year-old quarterback except show up when you're supposed to? You got a pre-planned trip to Egypt. Great. Wonderful. Yay, rock. Go fight, win. You can go right now. Why aren't you in Egypt now? Why aren't you at training camp and then go to Egypt? Why don't you go to Egypt and then training camp? And I could also put it the other way. Why aren't the Jets saying, when's your trip to Egypt? All right, we'll move training camp a week up. I mean, if this is all that important, of course it's a bad look. It's a horse bleep look. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. It's idiotic. It's asinine. It's selfish. You name it, it is it. It is. But the fact of the matter is Aaron Rodgers don't care. Why? Because no players care anymore. When you give players power, what have I told you? Kindness is weakness. You give players power, they're not going to say, that's great. They're going to be like Sarah Spain. They want more. They want more. They want more. You're never going to hear someone say, hey, man, I'm really happy to be here. I like the fact that you gave me $40 million. No, they're going to say the market dictated that I get $40 million. How about I like the fact that you bent over backwards for me in literally every way? Every way. Nah, there's never an appreciation for that. Can't be. I'm Aaron Rodgers. I've won a Super Bowl back in 1810. I'm smarter than you. I'm bigger than you. I'm going to Egypt, even though they got nothing to do until training camp. And they had nothing to do before it. Of course, it's a bad look. It's a ridiculous look. It's an asinine, arrogant, and I hope they lose now. I'm starting to like Rodgers. I didn't really care about Rodgers. The only thing I liked about Rodgers was I liked when Rodgers had the ball in the snow, in Lambeau, down 2 with 3 minutes to go. I liked watching that against the Cowboys or whomever. I did. Now he's just another jackass. Now he's just another entitled jackass. That's it. I said this before, and I'll say it again. Y'all can get mad at LeBron James all you'd like. You get mad at LeBron James. You get pissed at LeBron James. Everybody in the world get mad at LeBron James. J-Rod, go fight, win. But the fact of the matter is that dude is squeezing every ounce of his athletic ability out of his body with the way he conducts his business. Aaron Rodgers is like Dean Martin. You have to look it up. George Clooney type cool. I'm going to have a scotch. Kiss my ass, Aaron Rodgers. I hope you lose every game. After 5 days of insane debate criticism and calls for the president to sit down, Joe Biden's Ron Burgundy. Well, his Ron Burgundy act is at it again, reading end of quote from a teleprompter during a 4-minute speech, after which he took 0 questions. You know, it's amazing. He had a cold. No, he had a cold. Really? What medicine was he on? He wasn't on medicine. Well, what medicine was he? I had no medicine. But he had a cold. He was up on a 12-day trip, except he had 9 days to rest. I mean, how many days does anybody need? I don't care if you're 81 or not. Why all the excuses? I mean, he was up after 4. You keep Joe Biden up after 4, bad things are going to happen if you're a Joe Biden fan. Up after 4, my God, man. But anyway, Biden was up after 4. It was 9 o'clock. Trump outsmarted him. Trump gave up all of those things. Used the 2 analysts from CNN. Put it on CNN. Close the mics. No audience. Whatever you want. Just make sure this thing is late. Prime time. Got to be prime time. I'm not doing nothing at 3 in the afternoon. 4, no. 5, nope. 6, nope. 9's good. Can you make it 10? Because Trump was playing chess and Biden was playing checkers. He was worried about getting softball questions, which, by the way, the moderators did a great job. Jake Tapper, who was a moderator, and I thought he did a good job. He is hammering Democrats for not taking Biden's mental decline seriously. Calls out Chris Coons to his face for shilling for Biden. Can't believe I'm saying this. Shout out Jake Tapper. Here he is.
A discernible pattern of Democratic officials seemingly trying to convince you, the public, to not believe what you saw and what you heard with your eyes and with your ears on Thursday night. Democratic officials have tried to spin this in many ways. They said President Biden just had a cold. They said it was just one off night, akin to when President Obama in 2012 was rusty and seemed a little huffy. But behind the scenes, make no mistake, most Democratic officials witnessed the same shocking spectacle that you did. The difficulty that the presumptive Democratic nominee, the current president of the United States, had just articulating his basic thoughts during the 90 minutes of the debate. With all due respect, it is not honest to say that this is just one night. There have been moments like this that people have seen in front of the cameras and other moments with cameras not there. Just 2 weeks ago, let me just show this clip. There was another moment like this, not just a senior losing a train of thought, but something else going on. Here he is. It was an event about immigration. He tries to introduce DHS Secretary Mayorkas, and there's some sort of glitch. I don't know what it is. Let's roll that tape.
Thanks to all the members of Congress and Homeland Security Secretary. I'm not sure I'm going to introduce you all the way. But all kidding aside, Secretary Mayorkas.
I don't know what that was.
That doesn't trouble me at all, Jake.
Well, you're an idiot. No, of course it doesn't. I mean, these guys, I don't know how you do this. Like, you get up here and you just lie and shill for a guy that's obviously in decline, that's obviously bad for the country. I mean, I use the mirror. How do I look when I look at myself in the mirror? And I don't know how guys do that. That didn't trouble me. I mean, you could show 100 clips like that if you'd like, and Baldy over there would be like, it doesn't trouble me. No, it doesn't trouble me. Oh, okay. It doesn't trouble you. Oh, all right. Fine. Why not? Because we know he's in cognitive decline. We know he's a mess. We know he's a train wreck. Here's him reading the end of quote, Ron Burgundy style.
Sotomayor's dissent today. Here's what she said. She said, in every use of official power, the president is now a king above the law. With fear for our democracy, I dissent. End of quote.
Yeah, I don't know why people have a problem with that. Isn't he just ending the quote? I mean, he's just ending the quote. I mean, I know we're supposed to rip Biden, but I got to be honest here. I wanted that up on purpose because people are saying this is a Ron Burgundy moment. I don't see it. I mean, play that again, will you? I think he's ending Sotomayor's quote. I think he starts it saying quote, and I think he ends it saying quote. I'm going to defend Biden here, which is very unusual for me. Go ahead.
Sotomayor's dissent today. Here's what she said. She said, in every use of official power, the president is now a king above the law. With fear for our democracy, I dissent. End of quote.
Yeah, I think people are making too much of that. I'm not going to lie. I do. I think people are making too much of that. In fear of democracy, I can't understand what he says because I can never really understand what he says. But I will tell you this. I think that there is nothing there. I will tell you that. I'm not sure I'm right about it, but I feel like I am right about it. There's nothing there. All right, LeBron James just signed a 2-year, $104 million contract, and I ain't mad about it. That's right. I ain't mad about it. LeBron James getting $52 million a year at his age is good by me. Look, if he were Michael Jordan, kind of playing okay, or if he were whomever, but look, this is still the face of one of the biggest franchises, if not the biggest franchise in the NBA. And we all knew what was coming here. This is why I wanted the Pacers. I did. I wanted the Pacers to hold Bronny James hostage. Pick him and say, LeBron, we'll sign you 2 years, $105 million if you come here, or we'll trade Bronny James to the Lakers, but we want someone like Austin Rivers. Now, I'm sorry, Austin Reeves. I don't want Austin Rivers. I want Austin Reeves. Someone like that. That's what I want. But they didn't do it. And I don't blame them for not doing it. I really don't. I don't blame them. They shouldn't do it. You know what I mean? Like, you can't do that, but I would have loved it. But it's no surprise that a day after Bronny James, LeBron's son, was introduced at a press conference as the 55th pick in the draft in front of the LA media, it's no surprise that LeBron James signed. None whatsoever. Yeah. What are you going to do? That's easy. You surprised by that, Nick? Nick, were you shocked? Were you like, oh, my God, I can't believe LeBron James signed after they signed Bronny?
No, I think that's a no-brainer. I'm just surprised that they signed him for so much money. I thought maybe he would get like maybe $35-40 million, but to get 52 a year. I mean, when you're LeBron James, you can pretty much say, I want this much, and they'll be like, done. they'll give you literally anything they want, anything you want. So it doesn't surprise me.
You think he's still good enough to lead a team to the finals? Maybe not a championship, but the finals?
No, I don't think so. Because if that were true, it would have happened last year. I mean, you saw how bad the West was last year, and teams like that, and teams like the Phoenix Suns, they couldn't come through. No, so I don't think so per se. I don't think he's. I mean, if anything, he should just be a bench. He should just be a bench guy, and he should just be a leader on the bench. But he's not even that. He has too much pride to do that.
If you could own one NBA franchise, the Celtics are up for sale. If the Lakers were up for sale, or any other NBA franchise, which would you own? The Knicks? Which one?
Maybe the Mavericks.
Why?
You know what I would do? I would take a team. It could be any team, and then I would relocate them to a new city. I would probably put an NBA. I would put an NBA team in Nashville. Maybe I would take the Memphis Grizzlies and I would put them in Nashville.
That'd be really good. No, that'd be all right. Nobody wants to go to Memphis. Everybody wants to go to Nashville. Mm-hmm. No, I mean, Memphis, all you do is get shot up in the streets. And Nashville, all you do is like get drunk and throw chairs off of buildings. No, I'm with you. That's pretty good. Damn, I didn't see that coming out of you. What's wrong with you? Did you take your Joe Biden meds this morning? That's pretty smart.
No, I'd be off my ass if that were the case. I would honestly be asleep right now.
Do you think that Joe Biden took the meds that you were talking about back in Colombia? What was they called?
Oh, Tusi?
Yeah.
He'd be dead. No, he'd be dead. I said this from the. I honestly thought that he'd be a lot better on the podium during the what's it called? I thought he'd be like State of the Union good, and he wasn't. So obviously, whatever pills that he did, he took maybe an hour before, and then during the debate they wore off. So I don't think that any drug that he could take is going to help him out anymore going forward. So if he were Tusi, nah, he'd be cooked. And I didn't take Tusi. I know people who did, but I didn't.
How did they act under Tusi?
Did you ever see The Wolf of Wall Street?
I did. A lot.
Do you remember?
Yes.
Do you remember?
Yes.
The airplane scene?
Airplane scene. Tell me.
Where they all party on the airplane, and then the next morning in Switzerland, he's handcuffed. It's the airplane scene.
Yes. I thought you were going to talk about the scene where he's I thought you were going to talk about the scene where he's leaving the country club and he's trying to get to his car.
That's it. Yeah, that's a better example.
Yeah.
That's a better example.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
People in Colombia
That's one of the greatest acting scenes. But that scene is one of the greatest acting scenes ever. I mean, ever. Him crawling to the car. Oh, man. Don't ever get like that. I got like that once. I did. I got like that once. True story is about about 9 months ago. I had to get oral surgery here. They had to lift up my gum. So they told me, they said, you got to have someone drive me, and you're going to take this little pill a half hour before your appointment. So I took the pill. I'm sitting there. My wife goes, come on, we're going to the appointment. She's driving me. I was talking to my sister on a speakerphone, and in the middle of talking to my wife and my sister, I became that guy. I became Leonardo DiCaprio in that scene, and I literally was in the dentist's office, and I went, look, if I were taking a test, I missed my face by like 10 feet. And the nurse comes out and she goes, Dan, this is very common. Because I thought I was going to die. I got nervous, right? But you took it so they didn't have to give you the gas. And after the thing, I was fine. But, yeah, not great. So that might have been Tusi. Could have been Tusi. I don't know.
Could have been.
Oh. Well,